Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down the 5-game NBA slates we have here for Saturday night on DraftKings. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Hart. I do daily slate breakdowns for the NBA and NFL here on DraftKings, where I talk through my favorite spend-ups, mid-range plays, and value plays for the slate. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notification bell, and let's get into the slate breakdown. If you guys haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at HartDFS. Also, I put up the Saturday NFL slates. We have a 3-game NFL slate tomorrow on Saturday. For those of you that forgot, we got 3 games, so there's $1 million up top to first place on DraftKings. So make sure to check out my video there, as well as check out my Patreon. You can find it in the link tree. You can find it in the YouTube description down below. But yeah, I go in depth on my favorite NBA spin up plays, my building blocks, core plays. We'll pull up this one right here where I go over the matchup spread, recap, injury news, slate thoughts, pay-ups, building blocks, value plays, as I mentioned. All that good stuff will be in my write-up tomorrow, so make sure to follow me there. And yeah, let's get into this breakdown. We have 5 games. First one we're starting off with is Dallas and Cleveland. Both just played tonight, so there is some risk for Luka to sit for this game tomorrow. We haven't got news yet, but definitely keep that in mind, because if he's out, obviously Dinwiddie looks great, and so does Wood. If Luka's in, then right now I'd just say, if you can get up to Luka, obviously he's always a good spend up. Dinwiddie's just kind of there, and then Wood had actually a really good game tonight. He went off for I think it was 30 and 6 or 30 and 12, something like that. Yeah, he had 55 fantasy points, so he did really, really well. Not the best matchup here against Cleveland. You obviously have Mobley, you have Allen. So right now, I'm really kind of just focusing on Dinwiddie, Luka, and Tim Hardaway Jr., who, once again, I don't think he did well tonight either. So he's kind of been on a cold streak there. But we know the offense is going to come from these 4, and that's really it. DFS is there, should see the minutes, just not really productive in those minutes. Kleber's still out, so that's a little bit safer floor for DFS. Bullock should see some minutes off the bench. He played a ton the past few games, should continue to play a ton. So if you want to get down to these guys, sure, you can. I just don't feel great about it. They're all pretty bad at their fantasy output. So it's really just the top 4, and that's really it for Dallas for me. On to Cleveland. I don't think there will be anyone who sits out, potentially Donovan Mitchell, who's coming off leg injury. He put up 41 points tonight, but I think they all should be good to go, but definitely keep an eye out on the news. And if they're all good to go, no real standouts. Mitchell's obviously going to lead the team in terms of scoring. Garland is there as a contrarian play in the mid-range. He's just been terrible recently, so no real need to get to really any of these guys. Mobley has been good, but you have Allen back, so Mobley's upside's kind of limited. Allen, maybe my favorite play there at 6,700. LeVert, really just, I don't see the need to get into him with both guards there still. And yeah, I think still, the same thing as I said tonight, Kevin Love is going to be my favorite play. I think he did decent tonight. I know he started off the game with 6 points and a rebound, so not really sure how he finished as it's not uploaded yet, but I do think Kevin Love would be my favorite play there at 3,700. We know he should see close to 20-ish minutes, if not a few more. Massive upside if he's hitting his threes, decent rebounding. So I think he'd be my favorite play there at 3,700 on this Cleveland side. Lamar Stevens gets some minutes. Same thing with Seti. Minutes have gone down in that last game versus the Spurs. Not sure how many he got tonight. You could definitely look to him at 3,200 as a dart throw value play. But yeah, it's really just going to be Kevin Love for now, unless we get news. Moving on to Memphis and OKC. For Memphis, Ja looks great here, 10-6. Super unfortunate. I played him last slate against Milwaukee. He was fantastic. Obviously, triple-double in 26 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball well. Or I guess, 42%. But yeah, the game blew out it was pretty much a blowout through the second quarter and into the third, so he didn't see any fourth quarter run. But yeah, 10-6 looks great here going against OKC. Obviously going to be some blowout risk. I do like Jaren Jackson Jr. a good amount here. Now, he does have some upside, as you can see in 24 minutes. He put up 42 fancy points. He did get 8 blocks, which is a little bit of an outlier, but he's been really good at blocks this year, as you can see, 5, 4. I think he led the NBA in blocks last year. But it's just the big question mark with him is in minutes. He can easily get you there in 30 minutes, but we really want more than 30 minutes from Jaren Jackson Jr. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe if this game stays close, he will. but I still think they're kind of slowly easing him back into the minutes with his foot surgery this past off season. So 6,900 kind of piquing my interest, but right now it's just Ja. Brooks just there. No real priority or need to get to him. Same thing with Tyus Jones. He did well in the minutes off the bench. He's going to fill in about 20-25 minutes off the bench, but at that price tag, there's no need to get to him. I think Steven Adams arguably makes for the best play besides Ja on this team. 5,300, 21 minutes, 30.5 fantasy points. I mean, he's a decent point per minute guy. I'm not going to score the ball a ton, but it comes down to the rebounds, the blocks. Sometimes he can get some steals. So yeah, I don't mind Steven Adams there. It's 5,300 as a tournament option. Brandon Clark with Steven Adams there. No real need to get to him. Same thing with Santi. I mean, Zaire Williams is back. In a close game, maybe he sees 10 minutes, 15 minutes, kind of pushing it. If the game blows out, obviously he's going to see some more. But yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot to like here on this Memphis side besides the kind of the three guys like Ja, Steven, and Triple J, and that's really it. Moving on to OKC, we know the offense is going to flow through SGA. Coming off a really good game tonight. Yeah, he looks very solid. Just hope this game stays close. So he looks like a good spend up there at 9,900. Giddey, I mean, he has the upside. It's just, playing alongside SGA is not the best for Giddey. You'd rather have one of them out, especially, you'd rather have SGA out for Giddey to do well, to really show us upside. But yeah, I mean, he's just there. He's just more of a contrarian option in the 6K range. Lu Dort is questionable. Obviously, that's big news. If he's out, there's going to be a ton of minutes that need to go around. It's going to be a headache trying to figure out who it is. JRE is out. Basley was out yesterday. Maybe he's out tomorrow. We'll have to see. Kenrich Williams is still out. So the rotation is slowly coming down, but they still have a ton of guys off the bench they can bring. So yeah, I mean, Williams is always going to be your safest option as a guy off. He should start. Poku played a decent amount of minutes tonight. Only like 25 fantasy points, but 3,900, he's pretty cheap. So yeah, there'll be some value options here for this Thunder side. It'll be interesting to see if Lu Dort is back. If he's out, we'll just have to wait for the news to kind of see who they slide into the starting lineup. But I mean, it'd probably make a guy like Aaron Wiggins valuable. This dude, Eugene, has been viable at times. But yeah, we'll have to kind of wait for the news there. Moving on to Utah and Milwaukee. Now, Utah side, they look solid. I mean, Laurie, 8,100. Not a real priority, but he's decent. Clarkson's coming off a huge game, 39 real-life points. Just kind of there. I mean, really don't love the prices of either one of them. Olynyk, probably the most interest for me. I mean, Beasley's always a tournament option, but yeah, I think Conley still is probably the best looking one in terms of price points. I mean, he doesn't really have a huge ceiling. If you're getting mid-30s would be great out of him, but otherwise, no real priorities or guys that really stick out. I mean, everyone's kind of priced up to the point where it's like there's no real standout plays besides Rudy Gay's value at 3,100. Otherwise, everyone kind of just seems priced out right. It's just no real sexy plays from this Utah side. Milwaukee, the big news is Giannis is questionable. It doesn't show that, but he is. Drew Holiday is questionable. Middleton's out. I think Joe Ingles might not yet. I think Monday, but yeah. So I'm assuming Milwaukee's guys will all be out. We'll have to keep an eye out on the news. For right now, let's just say Giannis and Drew are out. If they are, obviously Bobby, Brooke, Carter, Allen, Connaughton off the bench. We'll get some Beauchamp. We'll get some George Hill. They all look great. Obviously, the scorers are going to be Bobby, Carter, and Allen with Connaughton off the bench. He should chuck. So they all look great. If Giannis and Drew Holiday are back, Drew Holiday looks solid there at 8,300, battling an illness, but he's been good recently. Bobby looks solid off the bench there at 6,200, always a double-double option. When am I getting to Brooke here? 5,100. Do you think that's kind of pretty cheap for Brooke? Like, he's really gotten cold the past week, but we know he has upside, especially with the blocks. So 5,100, don't mind taking a shot there, and then we'll always get the value play of Connaughton there. Should see anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. Okay point per minute guy, 3,400. Solid value play. Moving on to Portland. Great matchup here versus Portland. They just played tonight, so I don't think there'll be any news of guys resting, but 10-3 for Dame. I think it looks great. He got 24 points tonight, so his streak of 35 or more ended. But now we're getting a matchup against Houston, which we'd love to target. So I'm assuming Dame will pick up ownership because of that. But yeah, he looks great. Simon's price is slowly coming down, still not at the point where I like. You know, you really need him to shoot the ball really, really well, be able to pay off that salary. Grant, kind of the same thing, just no real interest in any of these guys' price points. Nurkic kind of piques my interest here at 6,800. It's just the minutes are in question at times, but he's been productive when he's out there, so don't mind taking a shot on him. But still, really, it's only Dame for me at the top, and then a guy like Winslow for value off the bench. But otherwise, no real, standout plays. You can always get to Eubanks if you want to force a value in there, 3,300. But yeah, it's really just Dame for me on this Portland side. Houston, now these guys are a little bit too cheap. KPJ and Jalen Green. Porter is more expensive, but he has a safer floor. Green is cheaper. Maybe slightly a higher ceiling, but still, I think, they're pretty much the same play, but KPJ has a safer floor when it comes to the rebounds and assists. So for that reason, I like going to KPJ. I like playing them both at the same time, but Green will most likely be more owned like last slate. But they both look great there. It's 71 and 6,800. Just hope this game stays close. Sengun is questionable. Looks like he's probable to play tomorrow, so that's good. 6,100, yeah, he's just kind of been there. Smith, a little bit of interest here. You should see the minutes. He's been shooting the ball decent recently. Has the double-double upside, but yeah, no real priorities for Smith. Gordon, okay value at 4,000. Tate's out. Eason's questionable. Looks like he's good to go. You could always force him in there at 3,700 as a value play. There are games where he does pop off. He doesn't get the consistent minutes that you really want to see. Same thing with KJ. Their value. But yeah, it's really just kind of the top two for me, and that's it. With a little bit of interest in Smith. And then last game, we got Zion, 10K. He's been great recently. Going to continue to do that. Going up against Phoenix, who is going to be most likely down a few players. So, Zion looks great here, 10,000. Not my favorite spin-up plays. Would rather get to, guards or other people, but he's been there and he's been very solid and consistent. CJ, 7,400. I still think he'd be my favorite play on this team. 42 minutes, 11:25, 45 fancy points. Unless he shoots terribly, 7,400 is still a little bit too cheap there for CJ. So I do like him a good amount. J-Val, 5,200. He's just at a very, very appealing price range, but you'd have expected a lot more from him going against Utah. Those bigs give up a ton of points. He only shot the ball 6 times, but he played 26 minutes, so not really sure what happened there. But yeah, he's just not been good recently. Minutes have been down, but he's always worth a tournament option. And look, I will just continue to say that because he can play 25 to 30 minutes and get you high 30s into the 40s fancy points, depending on how well he's doing, with double-double upside. So there's always that worth and mention and look there with J-Val. Murphy, not a bad option. He didn't really play too well in that Utah game. Did foul out as well. So 4,800 for him. Don't mind it. Lance, he's been seeing more minutes than J-Val recently. So if you want to ride the streak there, don't mind it. 4,700 does have some upside, but the price point has come up. Herb Jones saw 21 minutes, still on a little bit of a minutes limit. Okay value, maybe if his minutes come up. Jose, if he's back, don't mind going to him. He should see 18 to 20-ish minutes. He could get you there in that amount of time, but 4,000 for him is not the best. Najee, 3,800. He's always a decent value play off the bench right now. Price is coming up a little bit, but he's been consistent in terms of getting you what you want from a value play. Dyson Daniels with Alvarado back, he'll lose a few minutes. But yeah, it's really just kind of value play would be Marshall for me. Some interest in Lance. J-Val is always a tournament option, but it's really just CJ for me. And then moving on to the last game, we have Devin Booker, 9,100. I do really like this price for him. Coming off a game where he shot 6 to 22, so it's a nice buy low opportunity. Obviously, his ceiling is a little bit limited when it comes to like the assists and playmaking alongside Chris Paul. But 9,100, in this matchup, he's still always in play to score like 40 real life points. So I do like him there as a contrarian spend up. Chris Paul, 8,200. Not for me. He's coming off a really good game, has that upside, but 8,200 for Chris Paul. He always has that risk of going out there and really not shooting at all, as you can see right here versus Portland. 34 minutes, only shot it 4 times. You know, versus Houston, only shot it 7 times. So yeah, super risky at that price tag. Don't love it. Ayton is still out, so Biyombo will get the start. Bridges should shoot the ball a good amount. Don't mind him in the mid range, but just prefer getting to Devin. Torrey's there. I mean, these guys are all out still, so we'll get Okogie, I guess, is a safe play now. He's been so productive off the bench. I don't really trust it, but if you want to get to him, sure, you can. I mean, he's seen a ton of blowout run recently, so his stats are kind of elevated and he's been more aggressive, but I guess he's there. Jock had a really good game off the bench, saw some more minutes because of blowout run, but yeah, Biyombo should get the start. Only saw 18 minutes. The game did blow out, so they did go to the backups, but I'd say in a close game, he should see at least 20. That's what we're kind of hoping for, closer to 28 or 25, excuse me, if not more. So I think he makes for a great play there. You can go to Jock. He should get the backup center run. You know, if Biyombo gets in foul trouble or something, you know, obviously they're going to run Jock more. So I think they're both in play. You could definitely play them both together as your value plays. Damian Lee, I don't know why his minutes have gone down, but, you know, he's always an option there at 3,700 because Campaign is out, so they'll need some shooting guards to step up. Ish, maybe sees a few minutes, but yeah, really my only interest is going to be in Damian. I mean, Dario should see some minutes as well, but not a great point per minute guy. Interest is going to be Damian Lee, Biyombo, and Jock. You can get to Shamit if you want, but kind of gross play. And then Devin Booker for me. And that's going to do it for the slate breakdown. Make sure to check out my free Patreon link down below where I'll go more in depth on my core plays and building blocks for this 5-game slate tomorrow. So yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.